let's talk about persuasion.
Hi guys, you're not going to like me very much today because we have to talk about bureaucratic propaganda. And the whole idea of a bureaucracy, I'm sure, is pretty alien to you. So let's first dive into the actual definition. What is a bureaucracy? It's a system of government in which most of the important decisions are taken by state officials rather than by elected representatives. Please also already widen your idea of a bureaucracy, because we're not only talking about government systems, but we're also talking about organizational systems. Secondly, the definition actually shows that a bureaucracy is also a state of affairs where excessively complicated administrative procedures are actually applied. So if you think about a scenario like your university, where you have to go from counter A to counter B in order to get your stuff done, and you have to sign this document, and you have to look through this procedure, and you have to jump through hoops in order to get things done, jump through bureaucratic hoops, jump through administrational hoops to get things done, we're also talking about a bureaucracy. So let's have a look at what they are on about in this particular section. They start off by telling us that a modern-day large-scale bureaucracy is actually quite a new concept. So this administrative tool is only to be found in modernity, and it basically tries to establish a rational legal administration. Of course, it's a good thing to have a bureaucracy in some respects, because you have certain procedures and you have certain ways of doing things. But when it comes to bureaucratic propaganda, we are not looking at the procedures, we're looking at these bureaucracies trying to get legitimacy. Okay, so they are trying to prove to you why they should be there. They are trying to showcase to you their raison d'être, which is French for reason to be. Propaganda helps with proving this to you. And the propaganda that is sent out by these bureaucracies, by the governmental organizations as well as other organizations, is very pervasive. We see it everywhere in our social life, in our political organizations, in our commercial organizations, in our educational institutions, as well as our religious institutions. And we are very quickly fooled by bureaucratic propaganda because it is disguised in a very scientific and a very rational kind of way. So the cloak of rationality and science makes us more easy targets. It makes us fall prey to these messages, because what it does, what the scientific air of these messages does, is for you to stop questioning these messages, for you to stop criticizing these messages. And what is also rather concerning is that we are using bureaucratic propaganda messages to construct our reality, and therefore our reality might be quite skewed by these organizations. We want to finish off this section by making the distinction between traditional propaganda and bureaucratic propaganda along the lines of their targets, their aims, their media, and their purposes. Maybe we should start off with the aims. Traditional propaganda, you already know, is nicely embedded in the political sphere, where party members or parties per se try to gain support from a mass audience. Whereas bureaucratic propaganda has different aims. It aims toward interest groups and influential groupings to make specific decisions on a matter. The target in traditional propaganda, it's of course the mass audience who needs to vote, whereas in bureaucratic propaganda, we are aiming at individuals or groups or specific segments of the populace. The media, therefore, being used in traditional propaganda are the mass media, but you also know that your politicians use public appearances and rallies in order to get your support. On the bureaucratic side, the media that we are using are these messages, these official reports, these very rational seeming or scientifically seeming messages. You can also call in hearings or committee meetings in order to spread your bureaucratic propaganda messages. Lastly, the purposes are different. In traditional propaganda, The purpose is to attempt to alter opinions and attitudes so that they correspond to those of the propagandist, whereas in bureaucratic propaganda, it is the aim to maintain the legitimacy of the organization and its activities. I know this is pretty tough stuff to get through, but the more you read it and the more you let yourself understand it, the better it gets. So please reread your sections and just research a little bit wider about what exactly this means. Good luck with that. See you next time.
That's it for today. Keep on learning.